Welcome back to another episode of the Close Smarter Academy. This is day 3 of the 25 Days of Christmas. I am your host, Chris McGeady, and today we're going to talk about the gift of calm. Yesterday was the gift of clarity. Today is the gift of calm. Just as important, if not more in some cases. This is another, and I'm going to keep on tying this back to my old career in the firehouse, as you can see up there. Calm was everything, right? If you show up to a scene and you're chaotic, everything's chaotic around you, you're going to cause chaos. This is the same thing in sales, especially in the industry of real estate investing. If you think about it, the typical people that we're talking to are not the ones that are reaching out to a realtor that says, we're really excited about our next stage in life. Maybe it's time to downsize our house. Maybe it's time to upgrade our house. Maybe we've been renting and it's time to go buy something to get that excitement, to get pre-approved for a loan, you go find a realtor, you go see a bunch of houses. This is a completely different conversation in most cases. You're talking to people with life situations, going through divorces. Code violations is a big one that we go for because those people are, expected to be having problems or at least starting into having problems. So the conversations we're having with those people are much different. And they're going to have a guard up just as we have a guard of our own, really, if you think about it. The whole thing that we're talking about here is slowing the conversation down and getting them comfortable with you, but you have to be comfortable with them as well. So we hop on a call, especially if you're newer. I know it was like, I always joke about the beginning of my career in real estate is, I spent 20 years running inside of burning houses, going to car accidents, or hazmat incidents. It didn't matter. When the bell went off, you went and you did your job. The first time I sent out a round of marketing, which was direct mail, I got a phone call. That phone rang, and I was terrified. I didn't know what to say. I thought I was going to screw it up. If the seller told me no, then life was over as we knew it. But it's really funny to think back on that. Like the fear factor, it put in a different setting, seems foolish to say it out loud, but it's real, and it's probably real for you too. So some things that we can work on to keep the calm on both sides is really coming into the conversation. Slow it down. You don't want to speed up your talk because that's going to just speed up their talk. If they want to rush to the number because they've talked to a number of people and they just want an offer out of you, that is your perfect opportunity to slow that conversation down. Listen, want to get a good idea of what we're going after on this call today. Before we even like dig too deep into this, tell me a little bit about what you have going on your side. Like what prompted you to call me today, and then open up that conversation. When they tell you, be interested in it, whatever their answer is. If they tell you, well, we reached out, you're probably the 5th person I've talked to, or maybe you're the first. It doesn't matter. If they reach out and they open up at all, instead of just asking you for a price for the house, be interested in what they say. One of the more common ones that I can think of is an inherited house. For some reason in the past, like year or two, a lot of the calls we've gotten were inherited properties. And in most cases, for us, those houses were now owned by siblings in some cases, but mostly kids of the deceased. And those kids live out of state. They don't live near the house. They don't have a means to take care of it. In one case, which is not the norm, they didn't even know they owned the house. There was a disconnect in the family. They had passed away a number of years back, and it wasn't until the township started to get involved because the house was just in too bad a shape that they finally tracked down next of kin, which was a son in this case, and he didn't even know he owned the house. So his first reaction was to go onto Google and find one of us, who buys houses fast, who's buying houses for cash, who can I reach out to? And we were one of many companies, and he led with that. So maybe this is a great example. He said, listen, you're the 9th person I talked to. I Googled a bunch of companies. I'm calling whoever gives me the best price wins, which sounds defeating, right? Because you're up against 9 different people. He just told you on the phone. So your competition is fierce. Those 8 people are obviously better than you, right? They're obviously more experienced. They're obviously going to give a better offer. You got to get that out of your head. Have a true conversation with them. This is your job right now, is to slow that conversation down. Look, I get it. I'm the 9th person you talk to. I mean, that's a rough day, right? Especially if you talk to them all in one day. We're all asking you the same questions. I'm sure we're all trying to get the same information out of you. So I don't want you to repeat yourself over and over and over and over again, but I still, for my own benefit, to give you the best offer, I would still need some information. So is it worth going through this conversation all over again? Just what I did right there is going to cause him to pause, which it did in that case. Nobody had dug deep on these other conversations. He told them the same line that he told me, and he wanted to get his price. He wanted to get his price, and he wanted to get it now. Whatever the price is, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. So we threw him a curveball and said, I'm not prepared to give you a price. That would be irresponsible on my behalf. I want to get to know like what's going on here. What can I do for you? What are you actually looking for me? And then let's see if I can do that for you. And that calmed the whole situation down. I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that in tomorrow's video on day 3. But what we're doing here is once we slow that conversation down, now we get to start asking him questions once he gives us permission to start asking questions about what really is going on. What's the situation? What prompted you to call me today? How come you didn't call a realtor? You could have listed the house. Like those are the types of questions that you see on scripts that you don't get to unless you get past that the first objection. I think he came out of the gate. That's an objection. It's something to just get a price out of you and to move on. Get a price out of you and move on. And nobody slowed him down enough to care about the true situation. And when we had a conversation, it was about 45 minutes long. And I said, look, we're up against 8 other people. I get it. You want to weigh this. And you're probably looking for the best price. And just assuming that and putting that on the table, he said, well, I mean, the best price is nice, but I want the person that can get the job done. So at the end of the day, yes, that was our house. We contracted that. And not to say that we had any better offer than anybody else, because we all basically run our numbers the same way. We're all taught the same way. We start on YouTube University. Maybe you pay for some coaching. Maybe you pay for a class. But until you get better and understanding and more comfortable with having that conversation like a human instead of a robot. This is why I love scripts as a tool. I hate scripts as using it as an everyday medicine. Like it just doesn't work. You have to be your own person. You have to talk face to face. You have to talk as if you're talking to somebody in your own family. And once you are calm enough to do that and don't get on the phone and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know you want a price, and look, maybe I can do it for 50,000. Maybe I can do it for 100,000. If it's somewhere in between that, can we make a deal work? Now you're pushing them away because you don't sound professional in that case. Like you want to sound like the professional. I'm not going to give you a price because honestly, I don't know if I can pay that for it. And some people will give you a price on the phone. Hey, I'm looking for 200,000 for my house. Can you do that? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I have no idea. I got to find what's going on. We want to reverse that. We want to make it so we're actually buying the house from the seller. We're not selling them on signing our contract. We need them to sell us on buying the house and see if it's something that we could do for them. Because honestly, we do want to do something for them, but only if it makes sense for us. So tell me what you have going on, and I'll look into what I can do for you. Let's put both of those together and see if it makes sense. Because if it doesn't, we're wasting each other's time. So we got to start like really go. And to quote Tom Kroll, we got to go for the meat and potatoes. Because if we don't get there, then we're wasting each other's time. We don't actually know if we can help the person until we find out what the true problem is. So keep the calm, get the true story out of them, and let's move on in the conversation. So I'll end that there for the gift of calm for day 3. Because like I said, we'll go a little deeper on that. We'll bring out some examples for day 3. I'm sorry, to wrap up day 2. So in day 3, we'll bring in some examples. In the meantime, if you haven't, like and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you get all 25 days. There's some more content on there. I have my 10-part or my 9-part mini series is on there. Feel free to take a look at that. And if you want to comment anything down below, I would comment. Let's comment 25 days, and I'll make sure that I get in contact with you and you don't miss any of these moving forward. So until then, and if you're on Spotify, because I put these on both. If you're on Spotify or anywhere else that you're listening and you're not able to view the video, go ahead and comment in there as well. Or you can go to wintheclose.com, wintheclose.com. Anywhere you need to contact me, there's a form you can fill out there that I'll make sure you get anything that you need, all the free content and all of the free education. I'll send it your way. So until tomorrow, have a good one.